Great. I am super excited to get started with our writer's workshop today. Today we're going to take everything that we have learned about poetry and smush it all together to create an amazing poem. Now, before I get into the exacts of what our poems are going to be, we need to take a moment to review the 4 types of figurative language that we have been learning about in our writer's workshop. So take a look at the screen. The first one is alliteration. Remember, alliteration is when 2 or more nearby words make the same beginning sound. For example, Mara makes many muffins. I always like to remember alliteration as like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It's like a tongue twister. Many of the same words start with the same sound. We've also learned about my favorite word, onomatopoeia. And we know that an onomatopoeia is creating a word that resembles a sound. So we could have bam or boom because those words sound like what is actually happening. Then we've learned about similes, and that's where you compare something. So a comparison using like or as. The tree is as tall as a skyscraper. It brings some exaggeration into what you are talking about. And lastly, we spent a lot of time thinking about our 5 senses. So comparing everyday things using our 5 senses, our sense of smell and sight and taste and touch and sound. So today our job is we're going to say I can plan a spring poem. Now we are going to be using figurative language today when we're planning out our spring poem in order to make our writing more interesting. So this is what we are going to be working on today. Now, before we jump into our pre-write, though, I do have a model poem here that I want us to look over. As I'm reading this poem, I want you to be thinking about what figurative language do you hear? Do you hear any alliteration examples, onomatopoeia, similes, and our 5 senses? So I'm going to read it one time while you are listening, and I want you to think, what do you hear? And then we'll read it again, and we will identify all 4 of those figurative language examples, okay? So here's my poem. Boom, crackle, pop. Fireworks explode across the dark night sky. Boom, crackle, pop. They shimmer as bright as stars. Boom, crackle, pop, whirling, whizzing, whooshing through the air. Fireworks sound as loud as thunder. Boom, crackle, pop. Fireworks taste like a summer popsicle. Boom, crackle, pop. Fireworks race across the sky as fast as a cheetah. Boom, crackle, pop. Exciting, exploding energy on this evening. Now, I definitely heard some figurative language in this poem about fireworks, right? Now, I know boom, crackle, pop are all examples of onomatopoeias, right? So I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to use an orange for onomatopoeia because orange starts with an O. So this would be an example of an onomatopoeia. So boom, crackle, pop. And you'll notice that that was repeated over and over again. They use repetition to really show you that that is the sound that all of the fireworks were making. So I'll go ahead and highlight all of these for our onomatopoeias. Boom, crackle, pop. Boom, crackle, pop. So many boom, crackle, pops. All right, now if we go back up to the beginning, it says fireworks explode across the dark night sky. So here, we don't necessarily have figurative language from above. We could maybe say that they explode across the dark night sky. This could be a use of maybe our 5 senses. So we'll go ahead and we'll highlight this one. And let's do, we'll make a seafoam green highlight for our 5 senses. They shimmer as bright as stars. So I hear the as and as here, which tells me that this is a simile comparing 2 different things. So for that one, let's go with like let's highlight it with almost like a silver color. Oops, I have to actually highlight it to do that. So let's do like a silver color today. They shimmer as bright as stars. Boom, crackle, pop. Whirling, whizzing, whooshing. Ooh, I saw a woo, 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 which makes me know alliteration. So we're going to highlight an alliteration. Let's do red, because an apple is red. So whirling, whizzing, whooshing through the air. fireworks sound as loud as thunder. Now this one's fun because it uses two of our figure of language. It uses our sense of sound, which is one of our five senses, and it is also a simile. So we'll do half and half on this one, shall we? Let's do half of our five senses and half as a simile. Love it. Boom, crackle, pop, fireworks taste like a summer popsicle. Ooh, we have another five senses right here. So we will go ahead and do our five senses. And fireworks race across the sky as fast as a cheetah. So I heard as and as, which tells me that this is a simile. So we're going to go and highlight it for a simile. Boom, crackle, pop, exciting, exploding energy on this evening. Again, I heard all of these words starting with the same sound, which is alliteration. So in this short little poem, we found so many examples of the types of figurative language we've been working on. We found onomatopoeias, similes, five senses, and alliteration. Now your job is, in your Seesaw app, you're going to come up with a poem about springtime. So anything about spring. It could be a combination of a lot of different things. You are going to come up with some examples that you could use in your final poem tomorrow. Remember, today our objective is just going to do our pre-write, so getting all of our ideas out. So I would like to see at least two in each box, okay? So it says five senses. So you need to come up with a couple of ways that you could describe spring using your five senses. So I gave you an example just to get your mind going. So it says spring smells like fresh picked flowers. So now you need to come up with some other ones. So maybe what does spring taste like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Then for alliteration, I gave you an example, beautiful bright butterfly. So you can think about something that you see or do in springtime and come up with some more examples using alliteration. Then our simile, I said spring is as warm as a fresh cookie. So you can then come up with your own similes for spring or something you do or see in springtime. Remember, I want at least two so you can choose or use both tomorrow. And then I came up with an onomatopoeia. Chirp, chirp. Because I know birds, we hear a lot of birds. They wake me up every morning. So think about other things that you can hear in spring and the onomatopoeias that can go with that. So remember, I want at least two examples in each box because tomorrow we're going to take our pre-write ideas and we are going to transform them into a poem about springtime that uses all of these different forms of figurative language. So you're going to head over to your Seesaw account, pull this up, and come up with two examples in each one. All right? Thanks, first grade.